Hello and welcome to Reviews. As always, I'm Plume Noir, and as you see, we have She-Hulk #1. And you know, I'm a huge She-Hulk fan. She's my favorite Marvel character. So, of course, I'm happy to have this book in front of me. But before I go into this, I need to talk about two things. First off, last month, I think, yeah, it was last month. It was in Avengers 50, was when She-Hulk got turned back from the kind of Bruce version of She-Hulk. I was going to do a review of this. It's kind of sick here, but to be honest, I hate Jason Aaron's run. Oh, there goes JR. I hate Jason Aaron's run. I've talked about it in the past. I can't stand it. I can't stand what he did to She-Hulk. But as you know, we do get her back here. And although I'm going to say the whole nude thing is kind of gratuitous, but I love the John Byrne hair, the big hair on that. So, but I was going to review this because Jason Aaron put her back to kind of the default state, I guess you could say, her most popular iteration. And I am not going to give him credit for fixing what he screwed up in the first place. Because at the end of Tamaki's Hulk run, which then became She-Hulk, when she was gray with the glowing green scars, at the end of that, she went through that whole drug trip thing with that hippie and ended up becoming back to the green Jen Walters we all know and love. And then when Avengers came up a few months after that, he turned her back into that bulk Hulk character. And yeah, you know what? And the whole no fun. Remember that during the that stupid War of the Realms thing? She had the no fun T-shirt. Yeah. Basically, we know she is back to this form because she has a series coming up on Disney Plus, which I imagine I'm going to have to get Disney Plus to actually review that. So anyway, no, I'm not giving him credit for fixing what he screwed up. She was already back in this form, and he changed her back to make the weird Hulk Bruce with tits thing. Anyway, get that out of there. The second thing I want to talk about is that this series is written by Rainbow, how do you say that, Rowell? I don't know anything about her except for she wrote the recent Runaway series, the one that was just canceled a few months ago. I've never read any of the Runaway, so I'm not going to say anything about that. I've talked to a few people that have read it, and it's been kind of average, is what they said. It wasn't bad if you liked the original run. Some people said it was kind of slow and boring, and then it, because of the cancellation, had to get wound up quickly. But so I know nothing about this writer, so I did look her up, and I saw the two words that really fill my heart with dread whenever I see one of these books. Young author. Oh, okay. So I'm not going to say anything. I haven't read any of her stuff, but I've had enough experience reading these books that are done by former young authors or writers who started out as young authors and went into the comics industry as writers, that they all generally suck. They all look like people watched too much Buffy the Vampire Slayer and decided, yeah, all books need to be written like sitcoms. So with those two things out of the way, let's take a look at this book. And my response may surprise you. So we get the cover here. Just a plain cover. There was a really cool variant cover. I didn't get that though, where it had all her costumes and everything, and I should have gotten that, but this is nice. I mean, this is the character. I've always said I'm not one for the Maxim covers or whatever, where it's just a picture of the character, but for a first issue, to show after, if not including the 4 years of Avengers, you go into Tamaki, and how long ago was Civil War II when Jen got changed? Anyway, it's been that long since this version of She-Hulk, the classic version of She-Hulk, has graced the cover. So, not including last month's Fantastic Four. I know, I have that one too. But as far as her own book, she's back. Okay, simple. Yeah, color scheme stands out. We got the purple. It's anyway. So we open the book, and I kind of like where this is going already because this kind of reminds me of John Byrne. He would put her in outfits. He would draw her in outfits, I guess you would say, that were kind of classy, elegant, and at least for the time, the '80s. And I kind of like where that's going so far. So the book starts out with Mousy Jen racing to get to work. She talks about where she's at this point. She supposed to be further along in my career, something to show for myself, something other than a stack of expired Avengers ID cards, and a couple keys that don't go to anything. I think at least two are fantastic cars. I thought I'd have a practice of my own. I thought at least I'd have my own apartment. She did have her own practice in one of the series, though, but that didn't last too long. It was, I think, 2 series ago. So then we have Titania shows up, which of course she's going to be in the Disney Plus show. So of course we have to have a reintroduction to the character. And, it does say that she is a former supervillain. I am all about villains that end up becoming redeemed and, stuff like that. And I actually kind of like how they've done that. She was in that, Titania was in that one series. I read a couple of the issues. It was kind of like the evil, Illuminati. It might have even been called Illuminati. That was being run by the Hood. And Titania was a villain. She's been going back to being good. So anyway, I like this look for her. It still is reminiscent enough of her old outfit with the spikes and the cleavage, I guess, but it doesn't look so much bondage queen anymore with the thigh-high boots. And I like the outfit, and although I think she's worn this before, but I could be wrong. So we get the, Jen is just like, really, Mary? And Titania says, I heard you were cut down to size, only relatively speaking. I thought we'd take the new you for a spin. And Jen says, I thought we were past this, Mary. You turned yourself around. Yeah, well then life turned me back again. Okay, so of course, she pulls out the stop sign and is going to have a fight. Why is it, Walters, that you keep reinventing yourself and landing on your feet? And I got the blur, the glow on that, the reflection, and I keep landing on my face. And I like this. Jen looks, takes off her pumps. She's much shorter. Obviously, they did that to fit the word balloon in, but it was just kind of a funny little visual I liked. And maybe it's because you keep picking fights with Hulks. And then just a loud maybe. And then she swings the stop sign at Jen. Now remember, Jen is not hulked out. That would have just killed her. It would have cut her in half, given how strong Titania is. But remember, excuse me, Jen Walters has been trained by Captain America, so she's still, a decent fighter, even when she's not hulked out. So Titania is egging her on. Come on, let it rip. Sorry, there's Butters. The cats are running underneath the books. I'm holding it up. Titania says, I'll beat you down as you are if I have to. I won't enjoy it as much, but I'll still enjoy it. I was going to come back to some of these things. There's a couple little problems with the art. Jen walks up and grabs the top of the cab door, and I think she flips it open to kind of knock the wind out of her. You see that oof. But I don't know how she actually opened the door from the top like that and was able to swing it enough to take out, well, at least stun someone like Mary. So then we get the scene where Jen starts undressing. As a joke, I once told my son that if he ever got into a fight with someone bigger than him, strip down to his underwear. Because the person fighting will have no idea what to do. So even Mary's confused. What the hell are you doing? And Jen says, I am not fighting you in my only suit. Now here's the second thing I wanted to point out is, Jen has that top on. She has her jacket on. And it looked at first like she was taking it off there, but I think that's just her purse. You don't actually see what she does with it, so I think she's supposed to be taking it off right there. But then she takes off her skirt, throws it off to the side, and we do get a splash panel of She-Hulk. Just this is the She-Hulk we've been waiting for. You know, torn, bursting out of her outfit, looking strong and sexy. And look at that look on her face. I mean, that is like, all right, are we going to do this? So Titania says, that's what I'm talking about. And Jen keeps trying to talk sense into her. We still don't have to do this. You won't beat me. I have before, and there's going down back and forth. But what's interesting about this is She-Hulk gets Titania into a headlock and says, are you still married, Mary? Which, of course, she's married to the Absorbing Man. And She-Hulk asks her, do you have an apartment? We have a house. A house? Really? That's nice. It's a rental, but still. And she gets I think that's supposed to be to her ribs, but it looks like she elbows her right in the tit. And Mary asks her, just armor-piercing question, what is wrong with you, Walters? Which I've been saying for a few years there. And Jen says, I just think that if I had what you had, I wouldn't throw it away. So Mary has been straightening out. I'm trying to remember, was it in Charles Soule's She-Hulk run, or was it Dan Slott, where they gave the origin of Mary? And she was a pipsqueak of a girl back in Denver before the Secret Wars, before Doom turned her into this. But she was kind of I don't want to say white trash, but maybe that'd be the best thing, kind of no future, a lot of anger pent up, and now that she has the power, she just has all this rage that she can get out, and she doesn't really know a better life, because when she got her powers, I mean, she went right into villainy. She went right for working for Dr. Doom. So Jen says, are we done here, Mary? Did you get your endorphin hit? And Titania says, you know the rules, that it doesn't end until one of us doesn't get up. And Jen says, I mean, change the rules of engagement. Let me get this in here. What if I didn't incapacitate you? I'm getting a reflection on that there. And of course, Titania throughout the whole thing is like, I incapacitate you sometimes. And they talk it out, which, in a lot of the Marvel books post 2014, I'm thinking like the Squirrel Girls, I'm thinking Wasp. You have these characters, you have the two female characters that will fight and fight, and then they just talk it out at the end and become best buddies. And yay, that's how great the hero is. With Jen Walters, this works. Because remember, Jen is also a lawyer. She's she comes from both sides of the field here. She's done defense, she's done prosecution, normally defense. And she has fought back and forth with Titania so many times. Although we do get this kind of weird bit here where it says, truth is, I like fighting you too. And the look on her face. Like, the look on their two faces, it almost seemed like Mary thought she was going to flirt with her. But She-Hulk says, yeah, there aren't many people I can hit with a telephone pole without feeling guilty about it. So Jen says, yeah, let's fight. I'll meet you in a vacant lot or something. We could blow off steam. And you do that for me? It's for me too. And so they decide to have a fight club, basically. Because, the two of them, especially Jen being a Hulk, the whole rage thing. I'm not going to get into the whole immortal Hulk, immortal She-Hulk part of the whole thing. But, Mary, has rage issues. This will work with her. And it's kind of a violent, non-violent solution. And like Jen even points out, as long as you're not wanted by the law. And so Titania agrees to this. Let's try it. Fight club, you and me. And asks for a card, and Jen doesn't have a card. And again, we have Mary saying, Are you all right, Walters? Was that really your only suit? Titania's like, because I could lend you a few. And, Jen's like, yeah, the pride thing. That Mary, who is trying to turn her life around, is actually in a better place than She-Hulk. I'll come back to that. I will come back to that in a bit. So they agree, and to kind of have this whole frenemy thing. And then Jen goes and picks up her skirt, and yeah, there we see what happened to her jacket. She, I guess, threw it up onto that sign. She puts the stop sign back more or less, which, to be honest, this was still aggravated assault. You know, property destruction of public property. Yeah, I'm sure Titania has like parole, and it's probably a parole violation. But and then Jen puts on, well, She-Hulk puts on Jen's pumps, which one they should not even fit or support her weight. But okay, I think this might be just a coloring mistake because there's no way She-Hulk's feet would fit with the heel not bursting through or it'd hold up her weight. So Jen runs to her job appointment, and it is Mallory Brooke. Here's where I got excited because I did not think we'd ever see Mallory again. So I'm hoping maybe we'll see some of the other supporting characters from Jen's previous series, Pug and Southpaw, or maybe I'd like to see Andy come back. But anyway, Mallory has hired Jen, has given her a tiny little office. Basically, this is almost like a starter job. It's not the greatest thing. And Mallory even says, which one of you am I going to get? Referring to Jen being Jen in human form or in She-Hulk form. But like Jen says, and thinks to herself, until I get more suits. So after this goes through, starting to look up, she has a job now. She's lawyering, which is what Jen loves. She goes and meets with Janet Van Dyne, who is, of course, the Wasp. Which it says right down here, former everything, current everything, an icon. Yeah, that's kind of the whole silly thing they do in Marvel. You know what? I didn't notice this. I've read through this book 2 times now, and I didn't notice she's wearing like a sheer top underneath that. Okay, that's interesting. Is Marvel changing? So Janet is going to lend her apartment to Jen, which, as I was reading this, I'm thinking, wait a minute. Didn't she lend this apartment to her before, like this exact apartment? And I could be misremembering, but I think it might have even had been in John Byrne's series. But this is not the first time she's done this. And even Jen, even Janet's picking up that Jen is not doing as well as she is making out to be. And like Jen says, I can't get outfits at Old Navy. There's nothing Hulk-sized. And so Janet even says, there's money in the cookie jar and cookies in the cupboard. If you need anything, just call. And then she goes to the couch and falls over and says, let's see if I'll pick that up. Hello, lover. And says, things are looking up. And Janet has said that she left all of Jen's things in this apartment because Janet forgot she even owns this apartment. And so, yeah, Jen is really excited to see all her outfits again. So we do get to see her put on her outfit and then change in the She-Hulk and flop on the bed. And we get a gratuitous bathing shot. Maybe Jan is right. It is going to be fine. I got everything I need in this moment. And Mary was right too. I do keep getting chances to reinvent myself. I don't want to waste this one. I don't need to have it all, but I want to have more. I want to take up more space in my own life. And I'm going to stop it here because there's a few more pages left with a, I don't want to say major character, but someone who was previously dead that Jen had a part of that, who has burst into her apartment. So I wanted to go through this issue, and I don't want to spoil that ending because it's going to be pretty interesting. And so, got a young author writing this book. So you're expecting me to hate this. I was expecting to hate this book, and I really liked it. I really did like this book. I liked it a lot. This has been the best Jan that going back and forth between Jan and Jen. This is the best Jennifer we have seen in years. The closest we've seen to her in previous incarnations of books. So yeah, she did have the whole thing with the Sentinel. She did have the whole thing in Tamaki's run. Um, of course, there was the whole little bits that have gone in with the Immortal Hulk and find out that that Jen did die when she got the blood transfusion. But all that aside, we don't need to dig into all that. Cause I'll be honest, I'm one of the people, I'm not really crazy about the Immortal Hulk. I dropped that after like 8 issues or 10 issues. So, go ahead. I know people rave about that book. It wasn't for me. But anyway, this book, I could tell that Rainbow Rowell did her homework. And I am really impressed with it. Um, we're seeing nods to previous series. And again, we're seeing Marvel actually letting She-Hulk be sexy again because that's not a problem. No matter what anyone says, the whole eye candy male gaze thing. Yeah, someone if you got it, flaunt it. And some women are beautiful, and this goes with whole Jen's whole thing of when she was mousy and she became She-Hulk, she turned into everything she wishes that she was, and that's a really nice thing. And of course, with everything that Jen has been through, you could say maybe she's a little too mousy in this point, but coming off of everything that happened in the Avengers books and everything beforehand, she is going to be a little bit, trying to get her life back together. She hasn't really been Jen for a while. And another thing I liked about this book, with Mariko Tamaki's Hulk book, she was going through the PTSD, which wasn't a bad idea. The problem was, right even as they say in the first beginning thing here, she's been the Fantastic Four, she's been an Avenger, she's had the powers of a Celestial, but all that's over. So now what? That was the problem with the Hulk run under Tamaki, is that Jen is one of the most liked people in the Marvel Universe. She's when you think of the Fantastic Four and you say, okay, who's a member of the Fantastic Four that's not one of the four main members, the four original members? First one you think of is She-Hulk. Yeah, you might say Spider-Man, but he was more Future Foundation, unless you count a few issues here and there. But you think of She-Hulk. She's a major part of the Fantastic Four. She's been a major part of the Avengers. Everyone knows Jen. Everyone likes her. With Tamaki, after everything that happened to Jen after Civil War II, nobody checked in on her except Hellcat. Why? Why? Even Carol Danvers was going after the Cho Hawk, Amadeus Cho, thinking he was going to do something after Bruce was killed, instead of checking in on her best friend. And nobody came to help. Nobody came to check in on her, see what was going on. Here, we have even Titania noticing that something is off about her. And yeah, you could say that the whole friendship, kind of frenemy type thing, having a fight club, is kind of weird. But with the character of She-Hulk, it actually kind of makes sense. Because these two have just been going at it so many times. And as powerful as they are, this is Jen's way of saying, okay, we can blow off some steam. You don't have to break the law. And we can go and destroy something, somewhere abandoned. No one gets hurt. That's Jen using her brains to figure out the situation. And then, of course, we go back. We have Mallory giving her another chance, who... I love Mallory Brooks. I was so happy to see her back. And of course, then we have Janet. Again, Janet, founding member of the Avengers, one of She-Hulk's best friends. People may forget that now, but these two used to be thick as thieves back in the old days. And yeah, Jan is in a position to let, Jen use her apartment. She-Hulk has connections. Now, I know she's just trying to get back on her feet. This won't be a regular thing. But this is what was missing before. She has connections. She has friends that are willing to step up for her. So this book, I am going to rate it. I'm going to go midnight. I got a tripod set up here, so and I keep hitting it. I'm going to go 12 o'clock. I love this book. And I've gone on really long. I've gushed on it. But I'll be honest, Marvel books, I have not been reading lately. I've been going back and rereading old books. Some of it is for something I'm working on. But like Annihilation which was really damn good. I'm surprised I missed that in the first time around. The Warren Ellis Moon Knight, which was really good. So yeah, I'll be catching up on other things. And the current Marvel really not as bad as it was, but still kind of sucks. So please buy this book. This book, at least try it. It is good. And everything I was worried about, the young author, Rainbow, I take back. I apologize already for something that no one knew that I was, worried about. So, as I keep hitting my tripod. So anyway, as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.